is, and the committees doesn't work. That's why we depend upon the residents' council to provide input, provide comment, as well as, that's why the residents' council president attends board meetings. There's open and clear communication. From our point of view, what we think is supposed to happen is that the messages get communicated to the residents from via the residents' council. I don't know of any other way to really do that.
They can participate.
The
Members of the residents on the board panel that is doing.
we do have residents participate in committees, and and in this committee, we've had resident participation. Now, whether those, whether you agree or that person communicates or whatever, I mean, I'm sorry, for doing, for how that works. But we're trying very hard to be inclusive. We've got residents on every board committee. By the bylaws, the only voting members of committees are the board members. So, but we do invite resident participation where appropriate on the committees.
Yeah, we got another question, and then...
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, too, for being here. I want to leave you with two thoughts that I hope you will have the board bear in mind as you go forward from here. One, you have this question of priority for people who are being displaced from a destroyed home to have a good place to go. Barb is going to work out a way to make that right, make it the best possible. But the priority problem is every one of us here has an AFROC number by which we have gone in priority when we had the time to move from a house to an apartment to the Johnson Center, our continuum of care policy. Remember that? What happens to those of us with AFROC priority numbers if suddenly 12 people from Grissom Street are in front of us? That's going to have to be addressed some way, and Barb, you need to work on that. The other point is that if you all remember, I don't know if you two were here when we got West Falls. And when we got West Falls, the important thing was the community went to the Board of Supervisors on the buses, and we testified in favor of West Falls. Charlotte was there, Novella was the spokesman, Buck Buckingham was there. They're going to have hearings, public hearings in front of the zoning commission. You're going to have a public hearing in front of the county board of supervisors. You're going to need to have a delegation from here ready to support this plan, which is what you've put forward to the county. Right now, you don't have community support for this plan. So you're going to have a consensus, and you're going to have to be more transparent in order to achieve that, or your board supervisory hearing is going to be a disaster.
So I think I can't disagree with anything you've said. I don't know enough about the first part of this with the AFROC priority list, so I can't speak to that. But as far as dealing with the board and having, hey, look, if we're going to go meet with the county and we're taking friendly fire, it's not going to be good for us. We understand that, and I agree with your assessment on. I will take it as true. Your investment, your observation on transparency. I know that was never the intent, and it was not the intent. And we communicated with the residents that were on the board and on the committees what was going on all along. We're not trying to hide anything. We're just trying We're trying to have our stuff together before coming to you, and it didn't work out. But you're right. We got to have a unified front. We got to determine whether the loudest voices aren't the majority of voices either. In a particular meeting.
We've got time for one more question, Mike.
Right.
Yes, I'm Phil Walsh. I live in a duplex, and just to pick up on that point towards achieving a consensus, I listened to this discussion, and early on I tried to discern what really was the principal driver for creating this rather ambitious modernization plan. I wasn't sure if it was just to build some new pretty buildings that would be more attractive, or was it to increase population, or a combination of the two. But as we got through the discussion, one thing that Mike said sort of drove it home to me, and that is this business of occupancy rate. And I think the root cause of the problem appears to be, if marketing is correct, that the market value of the duplexes is dwindling, is going down, and is probably going to diminish over time. And that really will create a financial problem for Falcons Landing if we don't do something about it. So what you're proposing, of course, is to do something about that, to replace, not all, but certainly in large measure, the duplexes. So even though we haven't seen the data, and a number of people have said we'd like to see the data, showing us and convincing us that the duplexes really are not going to be saleable as time goes on, I'm beginning to believe that. And so I think we really do need to address the problem of how do we replace, if not all, most of the duplexes. In the plan going forward, though, I think, again, based on a lot of things I've heard this afternoon, I wonder if there isn't a way to preserve the Monticellos. You know, you talked about the portfolio, the attractiveness of the portfolio. Having the Monticellos remain in the portfolio, I think, would be a real advantage. So I just offer that. I think I've become convinced we have to do something about the duplexes. As much as I love my house, I can understand that they're not going to be saleable as time goes on. So we got to do something, and I would offer that as a reason to reach consensus.
Great, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for coming today. It's been, it's not surprising to me that you have so much passion and involvement in the future of the community. If you didn't, I'd be a lot more worried about about what would happen in the future. But your passion and that you care really says a lot. Okay.
Immediate meeting.
You want to go talk to him? Sorry about that. Why not expand the campus? Somewhere or another, did you look at expanding?
You did very well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is it possible